you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all and that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hearer of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Here continue with the conversation about this world going wild. Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem, who's off camera.
Well, I want to step off for a moment, actually, and take care of this phone call that I just got. So y'all go ahead. You go ahead and have your conversation. I'll be right back. Okay.
The Holy Apostle was speaking about the case of Michael Vick with the dog fighting. Well, he wasn't even dog fighting. They had the dogs in a property of his, and the way that the society and the media tore him apart and really tried to ruin his life. You're talking about the NFL putting him in prison. When there was another quarterback in Pittsburgh who, got in trouble with a rape case, and he took counsel slap on the wrist. Yeah, got a slap on the wrist. I'm really, he's still playing football. So where is it that you can rape a human being and not have any really major consequences, and then have animals not even really fighting yourself? But, in that case, the way that they do that with the powers that, run the country.
Like the NFL is a business entity like any other business, and they're about the business. And Michael Vick at the time was business to them, but when those sectors of the messenger was talking about, the sectors of the society, those pieces of the society that loved, it's not to disrespect the crime in itself, but put it in its place, in its proper perspective. Those people that actually love animals more than they love people, that can concern for animals, and for those people to come out the way they came out and push for it in the NFL as a business, and they had to react to their customers per se,
Right.
and at the same time use it as an opportunity to bring down a hero who a lot of the young people from the neighborhoods, like the message said, that they don't approve of. Anyway, hey. A famous movie said, they're animals anyway, so let them lose their soul. And so let's go on, and we'll take care of this hero, just like they went after Kobe Bryant one time. It's not to say that, out of all these selfish athletes, these selfish, undereducated, not the best educated people who've come into all this money and glamour, they can only catch the Kobe Bryants and come after the Michael Vicks and the Tiger Woods, the people of color who, they would, going to have a certain hero class, certain, like, against what Charles Barkley says, they are role models, whether they want to like it or not, whether they want to accept the responsibility or not, or they get their monies. But it's a vicious cycle. It is a vicious cycle, but but long there's money to be made. Long there's money to be made. They can make the money. We'll make the money by making you a hero, and they'll make the money by destroying you. The newspapers make money one way or the other, whether it's a heroic story or a bad story. Either way, just buy the newspaper, or look at get the commercials from watching our news telecasts. Talking about a world going wild, I'm looking at news telecasts and I can't tell whether it's entertainment or not. Yeah.
I was watching something on the news last night about right here in North, people are shining high-power lasers up into the airplanes, and it's blinding and distracting the pilots. They're afraid that a plane is going to crash in the middle of the city. They said it went up from like 1,000 reported cases a few years back to like almost 3,000 reported cases this year. And, people like, what it would be a point of you trying to, blind a pilot while they're flying a plane over the city? Because people are doing all kinds of outrageous things nowadays.
Yeah. World going wild.
People hate themselves. Yeah, I'm back.
Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, you just joined us back. We were talking about the madness of, we were actually expounding on how a hero symbol such as a Michael Vick or the athletes would be taken down right in the view of those people, the world view of the people that might worship them, maybe in there, but it's the case.
You know, the thing that gets me most about this society is the uneven scales of judgment. How could you call it judgment if the scales are uneven? How could you call it justice if the scales are uneven? Even the Lord manifests an even scale. It don't judge you differently because of your color of your skin or because of the status of your life in society. It judges you by your belief and your actions, your intentions. Judge everybody clear across the board on that. You know, it weighs everything and consider everything in the balance. It don't miss anything. And it does that equally for everyone. You know? And it's the sovereign Lord of all worlds. And here you got 52 states, and they don't even have an even scale of judgment. They're not, and people don't understand that this society is divided in itself to conquer the people. That's another trick, another illusion. You keep everything divided so you can conquer. If they clearly put everything in one status, one realm, one great jar, so to speak, and shake it up as one, then people see everything as one. You know? And you don't have all this confusion. It's like the devil. How many paths is it of the devil? Is a path for every individual in the world. But how many paths is it to the Lord? One. One path. And for every man, there is a lane to that one path. When you get to that path, you see it's the same for you as it is for me. It's the same for me as it is for anybody, regardless of race, creed, or color. It's the same. Now, our directions, they're of our own. The way we travel into that one path. To keep the confusion out.
I was reading the precursor for the Divine Book of Recitation. It was a passage in the book saying that people, they begin to believe more or less in themselves and what they believe to be the right way, not exactly the way the Lord sends down. And in doing that, they become wretched and of the devil's way. And they call compulsion in religion when they try to convince other people to believe the way they believe is right. And in the book, Isaac gave it to you to relate that in another way by saying they become as fruit when the tree of knowledge that was in the Garden of Eden, to whereas they're placed on the branch not to be plucked, but people that follow in their way and go astray eat of them, and then in that part they become fruit until they're all plucked and put into the hellfire. And I read that like to myself like a few times, and I even had my wife read. I thought that was real deep in the way that, that's how they cause the compulsion of religion, by trusting more in themselves and not giving their trust all to Allah. You know what I'm saying?
And then become victims.
Yeah. So the next person follows what they believe instead of believing what's from Allah, and they become in turn the same way they were. Yeah.
People wonder why nations fall, and people in the greater nations today, they believe that the lesser nations that has fallen were not as great as this nation. That's why they fell. The people and the times before in the past felt the same way about nations that fell before them. They weren't as great as that nation, that modern nation of their time. Therefore, they fell, and they themselves would not fail. Well, this nation is falling. This world is falling. By the owner of it is being felled. And the thing about it is, we live in a life of illusions. What we think is real is not real. Commonly, what we commonly think, as being real is not real. you know? And people look to themselves. I got a brother who told me he don't believe in God. He don't believe in Allah or Ahezaah, ain't named Lord, Sovereign Lord. He believed in God. And God only means good without the other O. And as elementary as that sound, this is his belief. And he's an evangelist. And he says that his mind is God. Now, I looked up on his Facebook, and he said he's a great mind, a great man. And he has dedicated himself, his entire life to God. And he's a Christian evangelist. But see, what I know, what he believes, and what he has said to me a number of times, that he don't believe in God. God is his mind. So what is he saying? I have dedicated myself to my own mind. And he wants people to follow him in that. Be students of him, under him. But they don't know what he revealed to me. And that's the way the devil is. That's the work of the devil. Deep, right?
Yeah. We've discussed, Lord, you discussed about how various ministers and these speakers, and they're so practiced in what they do in convincing and influencing the people.
You got to say the right thing. It got to be, like they say, politically correct. You got to be religiously correct. You know, it don't matter whether you believe it or not, but you got to say it, and you got to convince the people. Oh, I've turned my life around. I found myself in Christ. You know, Jesus. Wait a minute. Jesus was not Christ. Christ is the all-powerful El. Christ brought Jesus into the light of truth. Christ crushed Jesus, annihilated Jesus, and reformed Jesus with new life, with the mind of the righteous in its aspect of being the righteous. But it still was Jesus being operated by the Christ. So they confuse Christ with Jesus and Jesus with Christ on purpose. Don't think they don't know. The leader of the Catholicism Christians, they know. But they will never reveal it because that's what they hide behind. So when they say these things that they were taught to say and practice to say, then they get rewards from the people, and the people approve you're saying the right thing. You ever see a Planet of the Apes? The apes, they were more intelligent than man. And man didn't know how to say or do the right thing to be accepted by the apes. And some of the apes were less lowly because they accepted man as a equal creature or a better creature than what the others, you know, so-called the smartest apes had placed them in their minds. And these people are like the apes today. You see? And we're the human beings being slaughtered and enslaved and caged and imprisoned and, you know, worked, brutally worked to serve the beast. When I was young looking at that picture, I used to think that, oh, they trying to say the black man are gorillas and apes and stuff. No, it was the other way around. They the beasts. And the human beings and the common folk are the human beings. And in order for you to be accepted and not really brutalized, you have to say the right thing. It don't matter whether you believe it. You got to speak it so the people hear you speak it and believe that you believe it.
And by doing so, Lord, it's like you in turn joining them too as a beast.
Yes, look at the stars. Look at the black stars that they rise up. Oh, poor our brother who played as Malcolm X and then played as one of the gangsters in Harlem, and one of the greatest actors, beautiful actor. And they always find a way to destroy him in the sight of the Lord. Now, brother man don't know he's destroyed in the sight of the Lord because he took up arms with one who was an enemy of the messenger of the Lord. Even though that messenger was to the lowliest people and had a very elementary message in Elijah Muhammad. But they raised the evil ones up. And those who are in opposition to El. There's one whom the Lord El calls the opposition to Ra. A woman. Opposition to Ra. Opera. As a significant sign of who she is and what she is. Ra is the all-seeing one, knowing all things. They've raised her up to be the greatest black woman, equal to the president's wife or greater, without saying it, straight up. So many actors, they raise them up to misguide us, make us have faith in a gangster who has killed our people, you know. And I'm looking at this brother who bought this gangster this Mercedes-Benz or this whatever he bought, Rolls Royce or whatever he bought him, and honoring him for what? For killing thousands of New Yorkers, for dealing death, white death. No matter how you call it, he's a murderer, a mass murderer. And he's been raised up by one of our own. And that's the whole thing. The people of our communities, the urban communities, they got it all twisted, all backwards. Yeah, you scratch and you do everything you can to survive because we're put in these conditions. And we see that a person who can survive through this, regardless of how they do it, as being good and great. Yeah, he's making it. But think about how he's making it. If he's dealing death to his own. Death to his own. And we have so many stars that's raised up to deal death to us. And people say they just acting. Why they pay so much? Because they're doing an important service for the devil. They're controlling your minds and destroying your minds and leading you to death, leading you to hell. And they're acting. And then the beasts have you glorifying them as greater human beings when you don't know them. Money don't make you greater, better. If you're a human being, you're a human being. The Lord determines what you are in your being a human being. But the Lord, in his clarity, who sends messages for earth and earthlings, where people of religion try to act like the Lord sends messages for heaven to earth for people to think about heaven and how heaven is. No. Those messages it needs to be translated by the Lord itself, who sent them down in ways of wisdom. It said that in this day, a sign of the times is not only the destruction of man by his own hands and the creatures and nature itself being turned against him. It said one of the signs is that the stars will fall, be fallen out of the sky, and people looking up for the stars to fall. How you gonna look up into the universes to see the stars falling? Falling to where? If it's falling to earth, that means the star gonna destroy earth, all human beings on earth. And you can't translate what you call that stone out there, an asteroid, into being a star. Right. which some people want to do. No. In clarity, it said a sign of the times will be the stars will be falling. And our greatest stars are being felled by the politicians, the people in power, without any regards. Just taking them all down. That's why they could take Vic down. That's why they could take Michael Jackson down. That's why they could take all the rest of them that they're taking down. They're taking them down in record numbers. When in our lifetime have we seen the stars of Hollywood, the stars of theater, being taken down so regularly in the media? The media got more power than the stars now. Yeah, and they taking them down regularly under the command of the owner of this world. Huh? And that's a sign, but they want to ignore that sign just like they ignore the sodomy of the harlot that sits on the throne drinking from the golden goblet or the golden cup, and who's adorned with all kinds of jewel, bedecked with all kinds of jewels in his robes, you know?
Yeah. Sounds just put up a photo of him.
You know what I'm saying? Drinking from the goblet stained with the blood of the true saints. The evil that they've done and transformed and doing their own consecration and all their own, raising up their own saints, calling them holy. You know? And false miracles.
But the people who believe in them so much, is that they're duped by the comfort that they offer, the acceptance that
years of nurturing, years of just like this new DNA creature they found, nurturing the elements, nurturing the waters with poison. See, with them corrupting the land and the sea, that's a nurturing of something. Now they come up with something that exists through it. Something that had made a life in it. Huh? And who knows how deep that thing's mind is. This is the beginning of something new. Huh? So they've been nurtured and they can't see. And see, if you take a dog, you take 3 dogs, put them in a cage, starve them. You make the cage big enough for, for them to have their room, but you starve them. And then you throw a piece of meat down there. What they gonna do? Their nature gonna change. They gonna change. They gonna go against one another, try to kill one another to get that food. What they do to the people? They starve the people. They keep the people wanting, but they starve them. They give them just enough. Keep the real goods away from them. Keep the comfort of life that everybody could be sharing away from them. And when they throw the piece of meat down, what they do? They destroy one another to get it. Now, with the people like dogs, feeling that humans have more power than them, not realizing that they could kill a human if they could think better. They could easily kill a human, act like they with him and sneak them. But because they can't think better than them, they don't see the power they have. Because the people can't think better than the politicians and the people, the bankers and the people with power. They can't see the power they have. So they surrender. And they surrender so that they could be fed and housed, rewarded. That's why they surrender. Surrender to all that evil so that they could get the crumbs. So that they could be patted on the back and have doors open to them. Like they will take our most ignorant rappers and make them millionaires. Billionaires. They don't care about the money because they know they're going to throw the money away or they know they're going to control that money. And they put them up, singers who had never studied to be minds, righteous minds. But they put them up as our thinkers and our leaders. Why? Because they know that where they gonna take us. They know them guys who they raise up as great don't have no mind over them. They know that they are the greatest minds of our destruction. And they dress them up, or they choose the ones who are dressed up, and they teach them how to dress up their act. They give them signs. Well, you better not go beyond this line. You know, else we're going to get you. Huh? Now, if you're starving people and you worship stars, you worship people who got money, it don't matter what them people do. You will worship them for what you see of them. Not for what you know or believe of them in actuality beyond what they're projected. Blue Rawls represented a alcoholic beverage company who represented and supported Black Negro College Fund. Oh, great thing, great thing. But why is it just a beer company that would do that, or alcoholic company that would support the Black people and raise up their banners and say, see, we support you? When then they turn around and say, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, while they produce things to waste your mind. And here we got some of our rappers representing alcoholic beverage companies and doing so-called good things for the people in collusion with these alcoholic beverage companies and giving crumbs. Like, for instance, this holiday season, we know you're going to spend trillions of dollars on alcohol. And we know that politicians is playing this role, you know, stop killing the people. We got to protect the people while they killing the people. So they got one of the stars giving out $25 vouchers in New York for people to have a safe drive home. You could get a bus or a cab home. Huh? If this man give up 40,000 of them, it's just a nick in the bucket for him. If that company give up 100,000, 1,000,000 of them, it's nothing. Huh? Yeah. But that's part of the promotion. See what good he does? He's good. And he got it because he raps. But what is the rap doing to your mind? And what is the alcohol doing to your mind? What's the projection of his lifestyle that's set for people to follow doing to your mind? They got one who clearly told people, I got my millions, I got my money by dealing drugs. And he's the main rapper talking about he's replacing old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, and representing New York. New York, New York. And he got his own thing saying he replacing old Blue Eyes. Not knowing that, boy, you better be careful. Now coming real close to messing with the mafia, talking about you replacing Neyman. When he said it on television, I'm looking and I'm seeing the gin. I'm seeing the men of power that's standing up there with him cringe when he said it. And I said, yeah, because they know the truth. They better hope that somebody's not offended, that the wrong person is not offended by what he's saying.
Because old Blue Eyes was
Blue Eyes was one of the man in Vegas.
Yeah.
Huh?
An icon of influence.
Mm-hmm. Of a certain people. See, yeah.
Lord Holy-Apostle Deen.
I know we got to go.
Yes. And we hate to go, right? Yeah, but we'll come back again next week, and Lord, we'll sit there before you, and hopefully with our audience for more mind-opening information, and we'll ask about what is the power that those people, the people that we've been duped is thinking that we don't have the power. What is that power that we're supposed to have? What is that about?
That'd be our next conversation.
Yeah, Jesus, peace and other blessing be within and about your presence.
It's
Nice and golden.
And then about your presence,
Cover for the storm, Lord.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed?